Check, mic check, 1, 2. I don't know where the focus is. I feel like I'm out of focus, but welcome back to Gaming Daily. My name is Icy Gaming. I hope you're having a beautiful Wednesday, May 13th of this 2026. Shout out. Oh, let's pull up the chat. Shout out to Mount Doji first in the chat, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. My guy Doji always pulling up. Peyton is always focused, locked in. Unlike me, Peyton, I was actually, it's funny that you hear Peyton, because I was just thinking about you, and I was thinking about how not locked in and not focused, not thriving and flourishing in my lane that I am. And I was like, I gotta talk to Peyton, but I was like, but Peyton's crushing it and I'm not, and I don't feel good about that. But guys, thank you guys for being here. Big shout out to Blaze and YGG Play for sponsoring Gaming Daily, allowing me to pay my rent and buy my girlfriend sushi and talk to incredible indie game developers, founders, game makers like today's guest, who I am super excited about. Let me just pull up the little the preview right there. Boom. Before Diggle Games, Andrei Krylov spent 4 years designing onboarding experiences for Coinbase, Ledger, Xerion at his Web3 startup called LinkDrop. But he wasn't just building hype, he was building the actual plumbing that makes crypto feel like clicking a normal link. But that's not all. And since March 2025, he actually quit all of that to go make games alone, in which he called that a leap of faith. Since then, he has shipped like maybe 5 games, maybe more by this point. So I'm super excited to talk to him about his experience and journey building games as a solo dev with AI. It's the talk of the town. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring Andrei up onto the stage, calling in from the other side of the world. Andrei. Yeah, that's how you do it. Future guys, take note. That's how you do it. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Fine. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for a great intro. I'm really surprised that you just mentioned about like LinkDrop and the stuff. Yeah, it's like extremely professional, I say. I think it's thank you for the intro, and happy to be here. So talking in games, crypto stuff, and all other things people love. So
hell yeah, man. I appreciate those kind words. We try to do our research, man. We try and be prepared here. So Andrei, we first connected last year during B3's Game Jam, where your game, Slow Down, kind of like was one of the top games to come out of that Game Jam. It was so fun. But since then, man, you've just been cooking. You've just been cooking. You've continued building. I see you on the timeline. You're making games. You're participating in different game jams. I think you just did one from Levels, which is major. So I don't know, man. Like, how do you kind of describe what you're doing? You know, like when you meet somebody at a cocktail party and they ask, like, what do? Do you just like, I make games with AI? Like, what has this kind of journey been for you over the past, 1 to 2 years of solo game development?
Yeah, so as you mentioned that I quit like Link Drop. I mean, it's still operating, right? So we delivered like really cool features people using nowadays. If you go like to Coinbase, like a small promotion that if you go like to Coinbase and send money via Link, that we did, and extremely cool feature like for the stuff. But then I was looking at like thinking about like what's going next, and I started, kind of like vibe coding before the actual term vibe code, like by Andrei Karpathy, as far as I know, right? He said about that. So I started making games because I just found that AI, ChatGPT before Codex and Cloud Code, that worked very well. Everything you have to do is like sitting on the inside of the computer, like any computer, and just processing things. And actually, like, I got experience in, I think 5 years ago I started like creative coding. If you know, like maybe some of you our like audience know about like P5.js, like process, and so it's tools for creative coding for designers. And yeah, it's also to be mentioned that I'm like product designer, HCI designer, human computer interactions designer. Been doing this like for the past 12 years, I guess. And it was like my sort of thing. I started thinking about like sort of entertainment in crypto field, because working with the mobile apps in crypto industry, like with the Coinbase Ledger, I just found that most applications like dApps, they like quite, really hard to use, because you just need sign up, like interface was clunky. And actually, like in January 2025, it was like maybe just February 1st, it was the day I just like sat in front of the computer, opened Third Web, open like different application, and started doing things. And actually, it was like the great time. And I remember the hackathon, because it was like 1 month of experience of, let's say, like new game development wave. And I started doing things. And then hackathon, actually, I think it influenced me a lot, because, when you didn't expect too much. So you remember like that video when I just sat like in front of a computer, capturing how like I came up with the idea of, let's say we have like a kind of like a yellow ball, like a Pac-Man, etc., etc. So it was like, like poetry, right? And then I just kept on going, like I ported this game, found the partner Zerion, and actually it was like quite successful there. So like in a weekend we had like kind of like 15,000 claims of NFTs. And I used like pretty simple model of token gating, because yeah, for sure I had no income and I wanted to earn some kind of money from the games. And like the easiest thing, it's like you just put the price of the game. And I thought it's like really kind of like good way, because like in crypto you can agree or disagree that most games, like gaming projects, entertainment projects, they kind of like, we have like token, we just release token, and everything built around token.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to launch token, because I understood that's like because I was like a solo dev, and instead of making like a good gameplay, experimenting with gameplay, experimenting with like characters, you see that I have like a lot of characters, and it's like in my
yeah, the universe has grown a lot since I've last seen it, man, which is cool. I kind of want to get into that a little bit later and learn about this world that you're building, but please continue.
Yeah, but like all characters I developed, it's for the past. So I'm drawing with the hand, so you can see
I
It's
love
like
that.
it's just a native skill, right? I'm just like, even I'm sitting and listening to something, it's like with my Muji pen, small ads for Muji. So yeah, I'm just drawing stuff, and also I think it's like my like strengths when just create stories, like simple stories, because I got like a long time ago, I got a background on TV and writing like scripts for commercials and stuff. So yeah, and the games by itself, it's like rethinking. I found myself in game design things when you just have like technical skills, like product design skills, human computer interactions, story, all like things complicated, just the way how to like to build something meaningful.
Mhm.
So and yeah, and I started like slow down. It was like the first game, actually like the first game was Space Flash, but it's like super like easy clicker, like not clicker, arcade. When
Mhm.
you play like a fully pooping guy, I just hide it that game from the website because it's like a super, it was super draft version of it. It was like the first game I built. With AI, and then I won that hackathon with Slowdown. Then I started working with Zerion, making games like for them for their applications, and they helped me a lot with the distribution, because I know that the most games they just face distribution.
Yeah.
It's like the same like Steam, right? If you just develop like even like super beautiful game, it's really hard to publish your game. That's why there is like the whole market of publishers who's
Yeah.
responsible with publishing games, promoting games, etc. And yeah, Zerion wallet, they got like around like 400,000 monthly active users. They helped me a lot with promoting my games inside the application. But it was like win-win story because I just increased kind of like retention for their like usage. So I had users, they got like some improved their metrics. And summer 2025, right? I did like the second game, Sorbius. So it's like from right to left. And it was like my first experience with building like level progression.
Mhm.
It's like Slowdown, it's like arcade. You just, it's like endless runner,
Yeah.
endless, casual game. And Sorbus, it's kind of like puzzle. So that time I was inspired by Snake. So there is like a game, probably you saw it like on TikTok or Instagram, when there is like a maze and you just play for a snake and you have to build like strategies for eating like apples and stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I built that game like Sorbius. I just designed like around 17 levels. I just believe like to keep on going and developing like more levels. But like the next project, it was like Double Jam, when you play for at the same time you play for two, let's say, ships, and you have to avoid planets. And actually it's like all the games, it's kind of like arcades, puzzles. And I built with the like design of like on making a really extremely simple games. And since it was like really different, so the only one thing just united this like uniting these games, it's like a character, Mr. Diggle.
Yeah.
And since I was developing like games, you have like less, how to say, less energy just to make like kind of like the world, design like narrative things. And I started
Right.
making like after Double Jam, I just stepped back and was like, okay, I just need to make like something like unified, like one playground. And actually like I did the playground. So if you click like on these games, it's like different subdomains, like
Mhm.
Slowdown, Feel Fun. uh,
Oh, let me go
doesn't
back to
work.
slow down. Yeah. Let me go
uh,
here. Yep.
oh yeah. So yeah, and I did that playground when there's like a collection of different games.
Mhm.
So right now it's around like 5 games published on the website, like on play.deagle.fun. And the idea, because also I was thinking like how I can earn money from the games.
Yeah.
How can like yeah, it's the link, but yeah, you can play now there. So, and I started like designing like the new like platform, Deagle Play. And actually, like from early beginning, I think the idea of Deagle, it was I really inspired by WarioWare, and I was thinking it's also like it's a good advice for game designers just to copy like the games you like. So you just look this game like, oh, I like this, and just take like exact mechanics or design or like whatever. And I was thinking just something like there's like a Mr. Deagle. He's like on a planet, and he got like, if you do you know the cartoon called Midnight Gospel?
Yes, I love Midnight Gospel
So
from
the
Duncan
idea,
Trussell, right?
yeah. So it was like the idea. It's like if you remember Clancy, he
Yeah.
just he was making like a space podcast, and
Yes.
every episode he just morphed to like a different character.
Yep.
And that was actually also like the idea of Deagle Play. So you have like Mr. Deagle, it's like kind of like an alien, so just a white, like fat dude. And every
Kind of
new
reminds me of like Patrick from SpongeBob.
yeah.
Patrick
So
vibes.
many people they say that's like a Patrick, and it's a problem for me on one hand. On the other hand, so and I was thinking just to make like his eyes and lips as like the main brand element.
Mhm.
And if you play like different games, so I just making like skins that you play for different gameplay, different game. So the idea was a little bit like Midnight Gospel, when you play for a character, and every new like experience, new game, you play for Mr. Deagle, but with a different skin. So, and in terms of business, like in terms of money, I had like the strategy just to release NFTs like every 2 weeks, and to allow people score like top scores, top players, they just receive like cash rewards. So let's say I just sell like 100 NFTs like for $2, and I just put this money back to prize pool to sponsor like prize pools, because I don't have funds just to sponsor from my pocket. So, and actually like for this like for the past 2 months, I organized around like 3 tournaments. So yeah, and it was actually quite fun because it's like games are extremely simple. It's not about like building strategies, so it's just skill-based games when you just like on reaction. So the first game was like you just travel in the maze, and another one it was like on reaction. And and after that I just realized that actually Codex and Cloud Code, they just extremely enhanced for the past year.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what I wanted to ask you, Andre. Like, what did you start? What platform, or how did you get started making your first games? Was it Cursor? You know, you were vibe coding kind of before, you know, you knew the term vibe code. And then what are you using now? And how would you like characterize the development, or like the speed of progress in these tools over the past 2 years? I mean, it must be kind of wild to have like seen and been a part of.
So I think like game changer was in December, I guess December, January. So before like the first game, so once again I got like background of a product designer, but I also know how to code, and I got this creative coding skills. So I'm familiar with the Java, C#, JavaScript, etc. But yeah, for sure, when you build like kind of infrastructure, because on Deagle Fun, I just connected like some backends and front end, like a lot of things. And for the first games, I just used ChatGPT. Right, a year ago, it was only like ChatGPT. I tried to use a year ago. I tried to use like Cursor, but at some point it wasn't so good. Now it's good.
Yeah.
Before it was like so. I paid like a subscription, but I found that it's easier, like to have a progress with the ChatGPT, and then just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, because
Yeah.
at that time you just like control what you copy and paste. So I read the code and just like control. But this year I tried Codex, Claude, Cursor again, and yeah, it's like a game changer.
It's insane,
So the
right?
last game, you can see what I did. It's hip to be square.diggle.fun. So
Yeah.
it's like my page. It's a 3D shooter built with a 3D. I got zero experience, just zero experience. I don't even know, like I didn't even know how to rotate like a 3D model in a Blender. But yeah, with the Codex, it's I for that game I use Codex, and so I built like generated levels, 3D stuff.
And are you
And
just figuring that out on your own, asking, ChatGPT, hey, how do I even do this in Codex? Are you, looking into other AI indie game developer forums or whatnot and talking to people to get tips and tricks? Like, what does that kind of process look like for you?
before Codex or after Codex?
Like,
Because it's
like right now, like for
right.
Hip to be square, like that, to figure out the 3D modeling and everything.
So yeah, for sure, just read. It's also it should be mentioned that my crypto Twitter just turned into AI development Twitter. I think like most people from crypto, they just moved like to AI development.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I just follow a couple guys. They just provide with a really cool guides on how to make things, and like how to. It's also brings you kind of like how to make things. But when you start developing a game, because the Hip to be square, I was thinking like, okay, my next game is going to be something between like Hotline Miami, maybe it's like something. But at the end, I just generated like a kind of like a voxel guy. So I found some assets, like free assets on the website, I forgot the name, like 3D pack assets, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And then I just started like like you play in Lego and like in your childhood, you just started like building blocks. And actually, with the Hip to be square, I didn't have like too much like experience. It was like my first experience building like 3D game.
Mhm.
So I found like a YouTube video. It's built on 3GS, and
Yep.
I wasn't familiar with 3GS. And I found like kind of like YouTube video, like educational video on how to make like shooter game on YouTube. So I just watched, and then I was like, oh, okay, that guy just copied the shooter. Because there was like a lot of technical things, right? Oak tree collisions, like, and it's all like, okay, I have like 2 weeks to build the game, so yeah. And I was like on 3GS, like in the library, they got like a demo, or when you can run like on a blank level and just to shoot with the balls. And yes, and I just copied that engine, the physics, because of the physics already worked. And then I just said like, okay, like it's like, right, you have like the picture of like of the game, like already like a demo. And then you started like, oh, okay, I don't like the surface, like make the surface like more like square or like other things. But since I didn't have like experience in 3D development, yeah, it took me a while just to understand like how like Blender MCP works. And it's not like, oh, just make the character. It's every time it's just the process. It's like generating some things, and you think that you look at the character and like it's not so good. So it's like process. like you just have the result, like, okay, there's like a character running on the surface, like, okay, what's next? Okay, let's make like enemies for it, to make like a challenge. So yes, and but once again, it works like a magic. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's
It's
incredible.
so crazy because like I remember watching Charlie Blackstock give us a demo of Remix at the time, and I think he was using ChatGPT, maybe even like a little bit of Replit, and it felt magical then. And here we are, maybe a year and a half after that, and it's still like, to hear you say, it's just magical. I mean, yeah, the tools just keep getting better and better. It's pretty wild. Andre, I wanted to ask you, because you've been doing a lot of these game jams, vibe jams. You were in Levels One. So I'm curious, like, for you as an indie solo AI game developer who has been building, for the past, year, 1 to 2 years, you've got 5 or so games under your belt. Like, how do you look at these game jams, right? Are you tracking? Do you want to continue participating in these game jams? Is it, um, is it like good marketing and exposure and distribution for you? Is like the money and the prize pool like really rewarding, so it like makes sense for someone like you to kind of partake in these things, continue to get your name out there, show off what you can do, continue to push yourself, and it's like, maybe not you're getting rich off of it, but like there are good prize pools and good funding. Like, what is the lay of the land of these game jams? What does that look like from your perspective?
So game jams for sure. It's like any hackathon, game jam, buildathon. You can like can say like in different ways. I think it's just it's a good for like a professional like me. It's a good just to try like the new tools. That's why these game jams, they just organized by like large companies like the game jam, like the last game jam I participated is organized by Cursor. Yeah, and for sure it's good just to make like so you see this game I did, it's like a 3D game, right? It's a voxel graphics. I never worked with that before. I just worked with 2D games. But to be honest, actually, I'm trying to be critical to what I'm doing. This game, the game loop, it's much worse than I did like a year ago with 2D graphics.
Mm.
And I think all these tools, like with the 3D things, it's really great when you have like a core game loop, because in a game, like like as well as in a good product, should be something like meaningful. And like this game I did, I'm just happy that I got like 3D experience and the stuff. But when I look at that, actually, I just realized it like a day before publishing it and submitting my application. I was like, damn, I spent like 2 weeks on building like actually, it's a good demo, but it's not like you can play, but it's not the game. And actually, I just reviewed like maybe 50 games on a game jam, and most of them, they like pretty draft versions of it's not the game, it's a good demo. I found actually there's like super cool projects by Tiny Skies, for example. It's a really beautiful like meditation when you just fly around the like planet. And but the most games, they good demos, that they not finished products. And actually, like in what I'm doing, I'm just you asked about like participating in other game jams. I think yeah, participating in game jam, it's like you spend time. And
I guess I'm curious, like, is it profitable? Like, is it a good way for indie game developers to, fund some of their work in their game development? Or like, why would someone, partake in, 3 or 4? Like, would you even recommend someone partake in, 5 to 10 game jams a year? So you're doing it every other month, or like, how do you think about it? Because you've done a few of them now.
yeah, but I think the motivation of money, it's a a really bad motivation, because once again, the year ago when I participated in a hackathon, build-a-thon you organized, right? I didn't have like in my mind like, oh, there is like a prize fund of like
Yeah.
$1,000, and I just want to participate just to win and get the money. It's really bad motivation, I think, because the game industry by itself, if you see like the most successful games, that they're not about like people, game designers like, oh, I want to make like a game, especially like indie. If we're talking about indie game dev, it's not about like, oh, I'm gonna build like this game and I earn billions. Sometimes it's like most of the time, right? I don't have like the precise stats. People, they just do what they love, experimenting, and then somehow they just like boom, and there is like, I don't know, Hotline Miami. It's like
Yeah.
the founders, so like creators of the game, they just billionaires, and the impact of the game, it's huge, right? But if you start making a game with the like, oh, there is like a prize fund of like the first place like $25,000. So when you design, when you develop things, you just
Yeah.
thinking, instead of thinking like of a good gameplay and
Yeah.
focusing on things really enjoyable, you start thinking like, oh, I need to win, I need to win, I need to win.
Right.
So and, I would recommend people just to participate in hackathons, build-a-thons, game jams, vibe jams, just to try yourself. Like, and with that past vibe jam, I just saw like a lot of like works, like there's like 1,000 applications, right? And
Mhm.
I'm just like one of them. And it's good just to see like where where are you, so to compare yourself with the other people, just to see like the vibe of the industry. And so on the once again, like on one hand, there is like a lot of like huge like wild progress of the tools like Codex, Cursor, Cloud Code for sure. But on the other hand, there's like a kind of like a lack. I see there's like a lack of creativity. So it's like, well, every time it's like the same concepts.
Yeah.
And but I don't think it's like a problem, because if we're talking about like Steam, right? In Steam, there's like there's category of indie games. There's like 1,000 of games they just publish like per year, and only let's say like less than 1% got popular. So I think it's like natural things.
Yeah. I guess, where do you see the future of AI game development kind of going? How far do you think, the tools are going to be able to be pushed? Like, do you think that solo indie, AI game developers are going to be on par with, some of these larger, teams and studios in the near future because of the advancement of the tools? Or do you think that this is like a really great way for someone like yourself to kind of get started and, get the ball rolling, and then, get to the point where, okay, maybe then you're bringing on more people to, and building out an indie studio, and then maybe raising money, to fund a bigger vision? Like, how do you kind of see that progressing?
So I think, yeah, for sure. So these tools, they're really useful for making like a quick prototypes, maybe the more deliberate like prototypes. Because, like, for example, if we're talking about Hip to Be Square, right? There's like a shooter, and actually I showed that game like to professional studios. So I got a couple of friends working on AAA games, and you should understand it's a really complicated process that took like 3-4 years, and they just raised like millions of dollars. And there's like a team of 50 people, and they just testing every day, they playing their games every day, just to understand like, oh, there's like actually like the most complicated thing in game development. It's balancing the numbers, like balancing.
Yeah.
And so like the question was about like AI tools and how it's like
Yeah,
when
how
we
good do you see this stuff going, right? Do you think that we're building, Grand Theft Auto 3 or Grand Theft Auto 4 with like AI tools in 2, 3, 4 years?
I think that like the level, yeah, for sure, like level like for the entry point for like a single developer going like to game dev, it's much easier. Like me, right? I wasn't like professional game designer. I was a product designer. I was like making human computer interactions, like interactive apps. I never did like I did like 10 years ago. I did the game we sold like German publisher, but it was like Simple Quest, and I think the entry point it's much easier. But with that, there is like a lot of people. They just try and like right now you just can type I just want like I don't know Subway Surfer or something like that, and you have like the results. The question it's like of a particular game designer or game developer, it's like how much effort you like how much time you're gonna spend like to make this game like something more like valuable and think. But as a for game studios, I don't know like about they just one thing once again for design process. I think it's like it's a game changer just for making like a prototypes because
Yeah.
sometimes I can talk about myself. So as a designer, sometimes I was like, I want something like this, just to explain like how I see like the scene, like the lighting, maybe the vibe, and I
Mhm.
think that kind of like demos, like I don't need like a programmer just to create something, and I just need to sit and explain like my thoughts like to AI model, and then I have the results. And with that demo, like a prototype, I can explain it. Like let's say if I work in a game studio, I can explain like, oh, I want this, but this, but this, etc. So it's like more like since you have like more and like more complex prototypes, you can make your works much better
Yeah.
because I don't believe that like a single person could do like GTA 6, right?
Yeah.
It's insane because GTA 6 it's 10
I mean,
years productions like
yeah,
billions.
the rumor is that they spent $300 million on the water physics alone, which is just insane. Although I was on Instagram earlier and I saw a really incredible demo of a pixelated surfing game, and the waves and the water physics for like pixels was beautiful. It was the coolest thing that I've seen maybe all month. I guess Andre, I'm curious, what are some of the limitations right now of the tools? Some of the things that you're using, like, before it was a lot of character persistence, right? It didn't kind of carry over. I'm not sure if that's starting to be solved. The meme is like, one shot the game, make no mistakes. But then, yeah, once you kind of try and fix it or change, it'll get like 80% of the way, but like getting that last 20% is like so difficult. So, but I mean, again, this technology is advancing so fast that might have been true 2 months ago, but not true anymore. I'm not sure. So what are some of the limitations that you've come up against, that you've, seen or experienced?
So limitations is like token limits of your
Yeah.
products. Really like today, yeah, today I woke up in the morning, so I got like an issue with my GPT subscription, and
Mm.
today I just started like messaging with the chat GPT, and then I was like, why are you so stupid? And then I just realized that my subscription canceled, and I talked with the regular model, and
Uh,
oh, and I already felt that like, oh wow, it's already like I feel that, right?
wow.
Oh yeah, I just already feel it. It's like a cyberpunk, right? It's like wow, I already feel that. So something wrong, and then I just realized, oh, my subscription canceled. So yeah, but the models, so like the latest models, like GPT-5, 5.5, Cloud Code, they just yeah. If you, it's like I see right now it's like quite linear. So it's like the usage, right?
Mhm.
But by the way, that game I did, like a 3D game, I did with a regular subscription on ChatGPT, like $20.
Wow.
So because I got like some issue with paying like for pro subscription, so every
Yeah.
time the card was canceled, so there was like a problem, like a technical problem, and that's why I used like a regular model. But I think like more technical skills you have, like more precise PRDs, you just provide to ChatGPT, to the model, to
Mhm.
AI tools. If you have less, then you have to pay more for iterations,
Yeah.
because yeah, so like on my screen I got this, separate window with like codex limit, and every time it was like juke juke juke, and it was like so yeah, sometimes I just exceed the limit, and then I waited like for an hour. But I think it's good because people think that with AI tools you work less, but it's like quite
You end up
opposite.
working more.
And like extremely more, because you just sit like the whole day, because you just the tempo like of the progress, it's incredible. You just like, okay, that's gonna look like that, and before it took like a week, a few days just to see the result on the screen. And now you just like in English you just type like, I want this, and like in 15 minutes, if the task is complicated, maybe less, you have the result, and it's like involves you like actually like playing a game.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I have that motto, that life is a game. So we live in simulation, we're making simulations. So it's really interesting that actually the development with that kind of tools is really, it's also really it involves you just like dissolve. And I can spend like 16 hours per day just like sitting in front of the computer. That's why I have these reminders, just like go for a walk and run, making sports, eat. So because sometimes I just forget about that.
The
Yes.
AI psychosis is real. Well, I was just watching a podcast. I forget which one, but they were talking about, yeah, like the developers are just, not sleeping, not eating. They're just coding all day. What I was going to ask you, Andre, are you using any other tools? Like, are you using, were you using Gemini for images and character kind of like ideas, coming up with stuff? Or have you had any like, interesting prompts, or are you just doing everything in ChatGPT right now because it's kind of the
No,
best
no, no,
model?
I use ChatGPT and Codex. So yeah, but for like images, so I saw like couple guides on how to make like pixel graphics. It's a really big problem with the. So I'm really precise about characters. I want to make them cute. I just believe that a good character, like because I know how to character design. It took years just to make like to bring some personality into the
Yeah.
character. And most characters you just build with the ChatGPT. You don't spend too much. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old for that. So and I don't use like too much for if we're talking about 2D characters, 2D sprites. But yeah, I just need like to look at that like more precise, to try new tools again.
Mhm.
So I saw on Twitter, on X, some people, they just create like beautiful animations, but I didn't see too much about. So if you saw like Deagle, it's like vector graphics, right? Like
Mhm.
doodles. And so I tried a couple times, like making a Mr. Deagle walk, and every time it was the result wasn't too good. Maybe
Mm.
I'm too skeptical.
Mhm.
Maybe some models improve, but I saw there's like artifacts, and so like in 3D, actually, like in opposite, it's you have more control of a model. So when you have like a model and you have rigs, you can, I don't know, to make it to work like in some creative way.
Yeah.
So But yeah,
Are
I
you
mean, like,
using any templates, or have you, like, found any prompts that you're like, "Okay, this is a prompt that I wanna save, I wanna reuse this," or each time you kinda go in, you're kinda starting fresh or just coming from your mind, maybe voice dictating, like, what you want? Like, what does your process kinda look like? Or are there any, like, shortcuts that you've developed? Oh, did I lose you? Is it me? My internet cut out earlier, but I think that Andre is also in Asia. Oh, we're back. Oh, we're reconnecting. There he is. Okay, we'll bring Andre back up. Okay, you're back, Andre. First it was me, that time it was you, but welcome back. I don't know if you heard my question. I was asking if do you have any prompts that you've saved or any shortcuts that you've developed, or are you kind of just going in fresh every time?
yeah, for sure. I have like kind of prompts, but I think it's more about like the knowledge, right? If you
Mm,
work, let's say, because AI models they understand like the context, and you should provide with the like what you want, like but in technical way.
mhm.
So it's like peer, like making like PRD. And yeah, for sure I have like kind of like templates, but let's say if I start like from the blank, yeah, for sure I just understand like by the default I understand like, okay, if I have a game, I have like kind of I need the block for controls, a block for core game loop, I need a block for let's say lightning, etc, etc, etc. Yeah, for sure I just I use Notion for the
Mm,
storing the kind of prompts.
cool.
So I don't like using I clean every time I clean Codex and ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, but yeah, like prompts and good prompts, I just store in Notion. And if I need them, I just copy paste from. So I think it's like working with AI models. I think it's really important just to save, like to make like a documents, right? Actually, in a game, you have like game design document,
Right.
and yeah, before starting doing like the new project, I'm thinking about game design document, PRDs. So and I can do it like with the ChatGPT, right? Because there is no code. So before you just starting doing with like you experimenting and trying to think how it's gonna look like, and only after that I just like put it to Codex, and it
Yeah.
started making the first prototypes.
Well, that brings me to my next question, Andre, and maybe I should have asked this sooner, but what, like, from your perspective, from your game design approach, what makes a good game? Like, how do you think about game design, with, AI game development? How are you kind of going in and finding what you find interesting and what you find fun? And like when you're starting, do you have like an end goal of like, okay, this is the kind of game that I want to make, or this is the kind of experience, or is it like more of a creative process that you find the fun and you find the game loop in kind of developing it? I know you mentioned earlier kind of like taking inspiration from other games out there that you see, but I'm just curious, like, when you sit down to start a new game, do you have a vision of it in your mind? And like, it is it do you know that it's going to be fun? Is it a curious thing? Like, how do you kind of go about making the game and thinking about, this is a game that I want to make, and this is what's going to make it fun? I'm curious.
So I answer this question that about like what makes a good game good. It's a really hard question because it's the game. It's technical side, right on, and it's art. And you can't say when, like, let's say you go like to the gallery and you just see the picture and you're like, oh, you like, you I love it. And the same with the games. Some games, that's why we have different genres, we have different categories of games. And actually, like I love, more relaxing games, meditative games, like for example, Journey, or some games with a good, I don't know, setup. For example, I love that game when you play for a cat. It's called Stray. It's like,
Yes. Yeah.
I think for me, for example, if we're talking about Cyberpunk, for me, Stray, it's much, much more like beautifully designed and experienced game than like Cyberpunk 2077. So, and if we're talking like about my approach and goals, yeah, when I play different games, for example, I'm a big fan of Cult of the Lamb. Probably you saw that game. It's like you have that kind of like emotions, right? And I think bringing emotion into the game, and if we're not talking only about games, like a product in general, it's bringing like emotion to the product, to the game. And I think it's me as a designer, it's like my wish, my desire is just to bring something meaningful and something, let's call it like emotional, just to see that I'd like to bring some kind of emotions for people who play like the game. But I think it's a big challenge, because there is no like exact number that this works, that doesn't work, because
Yeah.
for example, I just played, like before the call, I played Balatro, and right, it's really simple idea. It's like poker and solitaire, and I don't know, it just involves you to the game. And so I'm still like researching, experimenting with things, with the different games I like, because I just believe that, for example, I can't build like 3D game like Cyberpunk or something, because I'm not a big fan of it. So I think everything starts with the like what you like, and most games actually I already built. It's kind of like a coping. So you see the references and you're like, oh, I like, let's say in the game, I like this exact feature, and I want to make a game, and I want exact this like of feature to be in the game. And then you start like building from different blocks, because in the game it's also like a lot of things. You have like a core game loop. You have most people, by the way, that don't understand, like the not professional designers, they don't understand like what does it mean, like core game loop. Core game loop, it's something that you like every second, like playing a game, you just repeat yourself, like you repeat it. So, and it's a big art. And if we're talking about Hip to be Square, like I designed, I found actually after 2 weeks of building that actually maybe the lightning and 3D models, it looks nice, but general overall the game wasn't like, it isn't so good, because there is no like repeatable game loop. So repeatable only for 6 levels. So I built like 6 levels. But for, I think, like a beautiful game, like for example Tetris, right? It's
classic.
Yeah, it's a classic game. It's
it's funny that you mentioned that, because I've been finding myself going back to Tetris, and like I pay like the $3 to like not have the ads and whatnot. They keep getting me, man. But I've been kind of obsessed with Tetris for like, I don't know, the past 3 months. I've actually been playing quite a bit on my phone, which is it's a classic, man. It's a classic.
Yeah. And chess, for example, it's one of the most popular game like all the globe, and it has no updates for the past like what 1,000 years. So I think it's I believe like the most beautiful ideas, they simple. That's why actually I after a year I just want to bring back to slow down, experiment, and like keep like into the depth of gameplay, and make probably like an application. So I started a game for like a crypto audience, right, for crypto wallets. but also like designing games, you should understand like the context of the game. So most games people play like when they just on their way to the work, like to the office. Some people play when they just, I don't know, wait in a queue. Some people they play games before getting sleep. So and actually, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like every day, it's also like understand the context of like game consumption. Like let's call it like this, like a game consumption, like what people and what I want like a person like to feel, how to play. So yeah, it's a lot of things. It's maybe
For
it's
sure. No, I mean it's a combination of art and science, and it's never ending, and it's the possibilities are endless. And I feel like, you know, I feel like so much of the world is on this journey of discovery of like what's possible and what can be done, and obviously advances in technology open up the design space. And ever since the first video game Pong, like we've just been on this journey to get to you know Doom, and then online games, and Grand Theft Auto 2 to now Grand Theft Auto 6. Andre, I wanted to go back to the distribution part, right? You mentioned earlier, Zerion was a great partner, and it was a win-win. You brought them, fun games, retention loops. They brought you a bunch of players. One of the biggest issues that we have in crypto gaming and gaming in general is getting players, getting that distribution, getting in front of people. And so I'm really curious, man. You have been this solo AI game developer for, over the past year. You've published, a handful of games. How do you think about distribution? Is it something that you are thinking about, or you're just kind of making your games and, kind of like putting them out there, and, maybe you get exposure and marketing from the game jams or different things like that? But I don't know, like, and I'm asking Andre also for like the other game developers out there that are like yourself, who are making games and want to get more players, want to get more eyeballs, maybe partnerships and things like that. How do you look at distribution, and from that perspective?
So I believe that like a good game. So I published around 8 games to the date, and like the best game, it's a slowdown, right?
Yeah.
It just showed like the best numbers, and and if we're talking like about distribution, especially like in crypto, right now it's like uh, extremely difficult like to distribute games,
Yeah.
because Twitter, it's not like the best option. So from my experience, like Twitter, it's not like the best option, especially like for crypto projects,
Mhm.
because you just need to click the link, then you have like to go like to the wallet. That's why with Ethereum, we just I didn't too much marketing like on Twitter,
Mhm.
because it was like built-in game, let's say, inside of the Zerion application. So people, they already spent time in Zerion, and they just saw the game, and they just like clicked and played.
Mhm.
So and with the AI gaming, it's also like, I think like it's big problem that actually there is like a distribution like Twitter, right? So you just publish the game. So for example, Hip2Be Square, you can click and play. The second question is like, how to like earn money from that game. And
Mm.
actually, it's like the second question, which is more interesting, because if we're talking about like complicated games, like more complex games, like with some economy, probably it's something that you should understand, like how the economy works, or like how the gameplay. So I don't have like the answer right now for every question,
Mhm.
but if we're talking like about distribution, I think that's that's even like in a classic gaming, right, on Steam.
Mhm.
So you need some professionals in the team who's responsible for expose your game.
Yeah.
Like so let's say you built the game, and then you have like different people around you who just publish the game, promote it, etc. We have streamers, right? Some games they fun to stream, and there is like actually on Twitch, and you have Twitch channel, right?
Yeah. We're live on
Yeah.
Twitch right now. Shout out to
Yeah.
Ice
Yes,
and Dark
so-
usually comes up and says hi on Twitch.
Yeah. Sorry, but you're like simultaneously.
Yeah, we're
streaming too.
restreaming. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah,
Got to get
and,
that distribution, Andre.
Yeah, so it's also like, for example, Twitch and streaming. It's also like super cool way to just to show your game, right?
Yeah.
But once again, the game should be cool. I think
Yes.
that's like the main thing is like the game by itself. It should be cool.
I think that's why Slowdown like caught so much attention, was because it was genuinely unique and novel, right? Like it's very simple, you know, so it's also like pretty easy to pick up, but it's also like it sparks that curiosity of like, wait, what's going on here? And it just kind of makes you want to play. You know, it's like very approachable, but also very curious, simple, fun, and creative. And I think that's one of the reasons why it did really well.
Yeah, actually, like what's going on, it's like the best. So when you start playing the game, I think it's like the best thing, like what's going on. I think it's like where you start, like what's going on.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, what is that? That looks cool.
So yeah, but once again, like the rest games I did, it's I love, like, for example, Sorbius, the soundtrack I did and the stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, slow down. So once again, I just back to slow down, and I just want to make like a level system, maybe. So after a year, you see, after a year, I just like I need, you know, to start making something more complex with that game. But the gameplay, I just want to make it like the same. You just a circle, maybe sphere. So because I played with the different skins on Unity, for example, like it was before before Levels Vibe Jam. So I worked 2 weeks on Unity with a slowdown, but with different skins like Preps. But then I just realized that actually black screen with a yellow circle, actually, it's like for that type of game, it's like the best. So yeah, I just need, you know, to make it more complex and bring in some, I don't know, builds for a run. So I'm researching kind of like roguelite games to make it more, once again, it's more complex. Just to make, you need like to have a content. My friend actually who played Hip2Be Square and played other, he got like a super cool review on different games from Vibe Jam. And he said that most games, and my game also, that it has lack of content. Because when you have like a core game loop, right, it's like a mechanic. You just, for example, you run or jump or something like that. But you just need to provide a lot of content to the game. Like, let's say, so like Subway Surfer, right? It's like endless runner. You run like through like these trains.
Yep.
But you just like, after, let's say, an hour, it's getting boring. But if you have like some loot box, rewards, different like
progression, you know, incentives,
actually that feeling, it makes like the game more like evolved. It must make more complex, and like, oh, I like to spend more hours on this game, because I believe that the key metrics in any game, it's like retention and the time you spend on the game. So for now, my games, it's around, let's say, Slow down, it was like the average session was like around like 5 minutes. With other games, it's like around like 3-4 minutes. It's good for arcades, but if we're talking like about more complicated games, like for example shooters or like roguelite, etc., at least you need to provide like a lot of content just to make like a game, and then a player, when he plays, he's like, oh, I just opened this area, or I just want to like to make a build, I want to progress with my character. So, and if I want to progress with my character, I need like different skins, something like that. So that's actually what I'm thinking right now, and making
Well,
notes every day. It's all about the content inside one game.
on that note, Andre, I'm curious, what is your ultimate goal with Diggle, right? Is it to continue making games? Is it to be a solo funded developer game studio where you're able to make, enough to live off of and, just make games? And is that the dream? Do you have ambitions of, again, raising money, taking investment, expanding, making different kinds of games? Or is this just like a hobby, for the time being for you? I'm curious where what is the ultimate dream and vision for you as a developer, game developer, and Diggle, this studio that you're building?
So yeah, it's my full-time job. So I quit job more than a year ago. Somehow I survived. So big thanks like to crypto and all players who paid money to me for that kind of NFTs. For me, it was like a ticket like to the game, and I believed it was like a fair exchange, so you have like a good game experience. So we did these prize pools for top players, and my, like, if we're talking about my dream with the Diggle, so like since early days of that kind of studio, I had a dream like to make IP, like a brand of like meaningful characters. And actually I still like in the early stage, let's say, because like a lot of experiments and the experience I got like from last year, it brings more things like, oh, I just need like to do this or not doing this, because it's all about experience and how you work, and a lot of insights from previous games I released. And I got like a lot of thoughts like on the next projects. So right now I'm thinking about like developing like deeply slow down, and I have like another project in my head. Probably you already saw on my Twitter's page, like Misty Woods. So I got like different there's like a screenshots of a gameplay. So I also got like some concept. So simultaneously I'm working like in different on different games. And before, actually, my approach was like to make all games around like Mr. Diggle. I think like this year it's I started making like, okay, there's like Mr. Diggle as a game studio, just not to bring in too much all around like Mr. Diggle. If right now it's actually like in terms like of creative approach, it's really hard to create like a story around this. And then I switched to like another character, and I was like, oh, it's much easier, because when you work with the different characters, like a lot of ideas, sometimes you just need like to cut the ideas. And actually cutting off the ideas, it's like designer's job. And actually it's quite hard when you work in solo just to understand what to focus on. And actually, like, my dream is like to make like a meaningful, playable game. And my goal for the next year is just to make for this year just to make something that you can play at least like couple hours. So if we were talking like product oriented like goals. It's to make something like that. That's why I'm sitting and like making prototypes, notes on content, game design, like yeah, like a lot of things like game design process. So
I love it. I love it. Andre, you've been super generous with your time. I know it's late over there. It's been great to connect, kind of
early,
hear
it's
about
early.
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 You know, oh yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. Wow. I guess I'm getting tricked, Andre, because I'm in Boston and it is lighter and lighter later now, which is nice. But before we let you go, I just want to like kind of close out. Any tips? What tips would you give to somebody who is interested in AI game development, but they don't know where to start? Maybe it's like it's a little bit scary because they don't know what's possible, or they don't think that they can do it. Maybe what kind of advice would you give someone like that?
The advice, it's in every like in a creative process there is like how it's called, like a blank sheet problem, something like that.
Yeah.
When you start doing anything, there is like nothing,
Yeah.
and it's really scary like just to start drawing or making something. But with the AI tools, like there is like everything. You just need like to start typing something, even it's like stupid, I don't know, make a game. Just start with if a person like has no ideas like on something, don't try to make something unique, because I believe that like the same with the slowdown, because you play that game and I didn't like I didn't want like to create something like meaningful or something like complicated. I was like, okay, we have like a circle. Just I love that like circles and squares and triangles examples because it's like abstraction. And yeah, the advice, just start typing. If you don't have ideas, just like start with the games you already love. Like for example, I don't know, any game you can
Yeah.
make like Tetris. Yeah, just create a Tetris just to like to
Just start using the
Yeah,
tools, right?
start using, just to understand that actually everything you can imagine in your head right now, it actually depends on time. It depends on time. It's like it's correlated with time, like how much time you spend in the front of your laptop with the AI tools. So, but the process, it's really like simple, like open Codex, Cloud, like Cursor, and just try just to make like a Tetris, for example, right? Just to see that everything you type, you got the result, and you can like play with that. Because I got this like huge emotions when I started like this 3D game. I was like, damn, and it took me like a day to make like the early prototype, and I was like, damn. I got that feeling like when you hide. I was like, damn. I was sitting in front of the computer. I was like, this is like a
I made
3D.
this.
And yeah, it's like and I played it was playable, and then I was like, wow. So it took me like an hour just to realize that it's the life, right? It's like magic.
That's amazing.
So yeah, but like for the start, just say hello to your AI agent or AI tool. Start with a hello.
Yeah, that's a good. Thank you for reminding me of that, Andre. I did want to ask you. I've been totally claw-pilled. I think AI agents are like one of the most exciting things to happen in recent, AI development. Obviously, Hermes is another big agent that's finding a lot of success right now. How do you view AI agents? Are you using agents at all? Is this something that you've looked into?
Yeah, I use AI agents, but I don't like. sometimes I don't understand how it works because I'm really deep into development,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm trying, to automate some processes, but at the same time, I don't understand how it works. So it's like,
Fair enough.
like
Fair enough.
yeah,
I
it's
think
like
I think they'll get there. Also, I think people are having enough success with Claude and ChatGPT, especially now with that Codex has, the goal that you can specify the goal and it'll just keep working until it kind of gets there. It is really incredible. Andre, we're running short on time here. What is the best place for people to follow you, to stay up on what you're doing? Diggle.fun is the website, at DiggleFun on Twitter, and of course your Twitter that we've got up here. Krypton Love. Is Twitter the best way to kind of get in
yeah, yeah,
contact? And
yeah. Twitter, like my personal Twitter. On my personal Twitter, I just publish more like experiments, and Diggle Fun is more like more about games and upcoming like tournaments. So I just work on them both. Sometimes I just have the same content, and my personal account it's more about like game development, product design, human-computer interactions, and Diggle Fun. It's precisely about the games and new games upcoming. So
awesome.
yeah,
Very, very cool, Andre. Thank you so much for your time, man. That's going to do it for the stream. I usually kind of will do a preamble or like a post kind of show debrief, but we don't have time for that today. So anyone watching, Ice and Dark, Doug Hype, Peyton, Wayfinders, Mount Doji, some people showed up in the Blaze stream. I appreciate you guys. This was Andre. He's amazing. I've been talking to him on and off in the DMs for over a year now, so definitely check out his games. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter. Go play Slowdown or one of his other games because they're super fun if you're interested in AI game development. Thank you to the sponsors that make this show possible, Blaze and YGG Play. We'll be back tomorrow. I've got a really exciting interview with Ghost Cat Joypad. We're going to be talking about the game that he's building, Mooncats. So I'm really excited about that. And that's all, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you in the next one. Have a good one.
thank you. Bye.